Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right, welcome, Fade to Black. How you doing? How you doing? Today is Monday, February 26th, 2024. I dripped another drop of coffee on my desk. Twice in a week, twice in 15 years. Wow. What are the odds? My ghost is back, by the way. My ghost is back. More on that in just a bit. My ghost is back. I thought it was all over. I had 6 months of nothing, and then this last 5-6 days or so, it's out of control, man. I don't know. I'm talking though. I'm negotiating. Yeah, I'm negotiating with a ghost. You've got to put all your options on the table. You've got to do it. Maybe it's because I'm watching the new TV, the new series, the new season of Ghosts. Maybe that has something to do with it. I just recently binged all 5 seasons of The Good Place. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on around here. How you doing? Kicking off another amazing week here on Fade to Black. And tonight we're going to start with Sir Blake Sinclair. And tonight we're going to do it all. That's right. We've got everything on the table tonight. We've got UFOs. We've got contact. We've got shamans, ghosts, the paranormal. Yeah, I'm going to squeeze that in after what I just said about my shoes. We're going to do that tonight. Very excited about the show. Tomorrow night, Richard Dolan is here. He has informed me he has completed his new book on USOs. And then even Richard managed to put a footnote in a book that he has just finished during a conversation. He goes, yeah, but I still want to add some stuff. I'm like, dude, there comes a point when you just got to go enough's enough. You can remix the album. You can add another track. You can go back. But at some point, you just got to pump the brakes and say, let's put this thing out. So we'll be discussing all of that tomorrow night with Richard Dolan. Wednesday night, Dane Wigington is back with us. Global climate intervention, especially after the news of the Doomsday Glacier. And we'll be talking about all of that Wednesday night with Dane. And then Thursday night, Dr. Paul Sutter is with us. Professional astronomer, PhD. We're going to be talking about all of my favorite subjects, which is astrophysics, astronomy, science, and what is actually being told to society, and how are we dealing with all of that. Big show on Thursday. All right. I wanted to mention, I just popped this in the chat, and I don't know how this got away from me earlier today during the news broadcast, but I saw my first Tesla Cybertruck on Friday on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks on my way to dinner with a D. Snyder from Twisted Sister and his family. It was an amazing dinner, and I didn't get a pic. It drove past me on Ventura Boulevard, opposite side of the street. But let me say this. It freaked me out. Caught me by surprise. But it was cooler. It was stranger. And it was bigger than I imagined. It was pretty cool. It's like right out of a movie. I'm just going to say that. I know that right now the excitement is there. And, man, did you see a Cybertruck? I saw one yesterday. It's going to be like that for a minute. Then things will chill out. Remember when Volkswagen reintroduced the Beetle? Right? Remember that? And they had the little flower vase. And and you were so excited when you saw the new Beetle. Okay, it's kind of like that. So the excitement will wear down, but man, it was pretty cool on Friday. So have you seen one yet? Have you seen a Cybertruck on the road yourself? It caught me so much by surprise that after dinner, I came back home. I was like, man, was this just like some kind of anomaly? Is it the only one in the world? Is it being test driven by Road and Track? Was it Elon himself? Turns out they're like available now. You can rent them, and I did not know. Caught me by surprise. I had no idea. All right, tonight it is Sir Blake Sinclair. We're going to be talking tonight, amongst other things. We're going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about shamans, spiritualists. We're going to talk maybe a little alternative healing, if we can squeeze that in. I want to focus on UFOs. I would like to talk a little bit about ghosts and my issues here at the house. And contact. We're going to do all of that tonight and much more. Sir Blake Sinclair, he is a writer. He's an author of Dare to Imagine and Beyond Imagination. He's a native of San Francisco. He's a mystic. He's a philosopher. He's a, get ready, Grand Knight Commander of the Royal Equestrian Order of Michael Archangel. We'll find out what that is all about. And he is also the Goodwill Ambassador of the Royal House of Gassan. All right, we've got a lot more. His website is below over on social media and on our website. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Sir Blake Sinclair. Say that 5 times really fast, Blake. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
It's good to have you here. And you get the first-time guest disclaimer, so let's get that out of the way. Blake, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we'll end as friends. You have to accept to proceed.
Sounds good.
No, is that? That was an evasive answer. You don't have on the customer agreement, right? They don't have sounds good as an option. Right? That would make things better, huh? Right? You could just go, yeah. Sounds good. All right, I guess. I want to start here tonight. I want to find out about your family and your contact and where we are right now with UFOs and everything. But I'm going to start. It's brief, okay? I'm going to start here. We have Year of the Goldfish, Year of the House Cat, Year of the Rat, Year of the Bunny Rabbit, right? I never got any of those. It's the Year of the Dragon, man. This has got to mean something. And I just hosted an event, big event, Conscious Life Expo down here in LA. Everybody was talking about the Year of the Dragon. And I had introduced somebody on stage. I'm hosting the event, and I was walking through the crowd, and somebody pulled on my sleeve. It's the Year of the Dragon. I was like, man, I didn't get my gift box. I don't even know what, but tell me, what's all of the excitement about?
Well, I think the Year of the Dragon, the wood dragon, is a special year. And the wood is based on the 5 elements. So wood is like a tree. Tree represents growth.
Right.
New opportunities, new beginnings. One of my friends, a yogi, he mentioned about the end of the Kali Yuga era, and it ended during the New Year, the Lunar New Year on Saturday. So a lot of good things are happening from the universe standpoint. So we're getting the more support. In the past, there might be resistance, but I think this year is a year of manifestation, a year where we can embrace and get the support of the divine and the universe to manifest things in our lives and career, our jobs, and in the planet in terms of evolution. So I think it's an exciting time to be alive, especially this year.
Okay, so that's the wood side. What about the dragon side? Because dragons are cool, right?
Well, dragons are really mystical and great creatures and great beings. Some people say the mythical. And there are some people that say they existed thousands of years ago. In fact, I have a story about that. I actually met the direct descendant of the Yellow Emperor. So story has it that he's a very enlightened emperor. He was the one that was responsible for uniting China. And he did a lot of spiritual practices. He wrote books that influenced Chinese medicine. He did like feng shui, qigong, and did a lot of cultivation, spiritual cultivation. And the story has it that before he ascended, before he attained liberation, he met a dragon figure. And the figure, that dragon being, gave him 7 dragon pearls. So if you look at a lot of Chinese art, there's a dragon and it's clawing a pearl. The pearl is based on this reality, these mystical extraterrestrial crystal balls that was given to the Yellow Emperor. There were about 7 of them. And before he ascended, he gave those to his grandson, and they kept that in the family for thousands of years. I once gave a lecture at a Taoist convention, and I met this guy. He was attending my presentation. Afterwards, we had a dinner and a banquet, and I sat with the same table he sat. He wore kind of like a yellow robe. I didn't know anything about him. I just knew that he was somebody royal. We started talking. Turns out that he was a direct descendant of the Yellow Emperor. In fact, he took some assistants and friends. They went to China, and they went to a cave where the Yellow Emperor did his cultivation, his spiritual practices. So it's a real figure. Even people, they say that the Yellow Emperor is a mystical, legendary person, but he was actually a person who existed. And this guy is the direct descendant of that emperor. And anyways, he invited me to his hotel, and he showed me this mystical pearl. So I held it. It was luminous. And my wife was there too. She held it, and she felt like electricity in her body. And
How big was it? Can I get you to push your microphone back maybe about 3 inches? Yeah, just push it back. Push it away from. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just getting some puzz. How big was it? What did it look like?
Not too big. It was probably about this, maybe 1.5 inches or so. And it was just round, like solid ball, but it was luminous. It had a kind of beautiful glow to it. And people, they react differently when they're around it. One time he brought it to a lecture attended by thousands and thousands of people. He left it in his pocket, and people were crying because they were affected by the energy. I didn't cry, but I had a mystical experience. So when I was in this hotel, he did some kind of spiritual ritual. And then he kind of anointed my third eye. And all of a sudden, I went through this kind of not transformation, but journey back in time really fast. I went back and I saw three beings. The first one was Buddha, Gautama Buddha. The second one was Ajahn Lee. Master Ajahn Lee was a famous Thai Buddhist master. And then the Yellow Emperor. There was some kind of connection there. But
when that happens, do you recognize you know what I mean? Because I mean, if you're walking down the street and Prince walks by, right, or you know who you're looking at, and you're going to react a certain way like that. Did you know who you were interacting with, and how did you handle it?
Well, no, I saw the vision of that person, so I knew based on the energy signature who that person was. I knew it was Ajahn Lee. I've been interacting with this master in the inner realm.
Right.
That's another story we need to talk about tonight. Remind me to talk about Master Relica. But she connected me to this master, and she's connected to many Buddhist masters in the other realm that communicate with her. And she has the mystical ability of manifesting relics. Are you familiar with relics?
Of course.
Yeah, these are Buddhist relics. And so when Buddhist masters, when they die or attain liberation, they get cremated. And most of us, we get cremated, we're just dust particle. But with the Buddhist master, like Buddha, they leave like a little relic of crystal. It could be a crystal, it could be a a large stone, different shapes, or shaped like a heart, but it contains high consciousness. And you want me to get into the story of Master Relico, or?
Oh, yeah. I have a chunk. I have lots of crystals, but you know what I keep next to me here in the studio? Meteorite. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, I love meteorites. Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
I collect meteorites too. I like the palisite.
Nice. There's so much energy with this. I have lots of crystals, lots of crystal skulls, and everything has got its own unique little vibe to it, and it depends. But this is the one I keep next to me all the time.
That's awesome.
Beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that.
That's expensive too. It's so big. Nice piece.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you know what? Since we're doing that, I'm going to show you one too. This one is a miracle. This was given to me, and it's given to me by this old lady. I call them Madame Q. And when she first got it, it was really small. It was a small seed Lemurian crystal. She took care of it. She gave a lot of love, a lot of sunlight, and it grew into that size. And if you kind of take a look at it, it's got a little twin flame on it too. It's
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of psychics, spiritual masters, they feel the energy and consciousness within it. Beautiful.
You know, I the first thing I do, and I was just going to grab another piece of crystal. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's the first thing I do is look inside. You know, you can hold. Crystals are different for everybody, but I hold it up to the light because there's always some kind of action going on in the inside. And if you look, you know, kind of squint your eyes a little bit, you'll see something. Whatever it is, you know, Washington crossing the Delaware. I don't know what you're going to see, but there's always some action, you know, going on the inside of a crystal. And I love that part of it. Crystals are my thing. They didn't used to be my thing. That's the stride. I ignored them. And now I cannot, I think they're the most beautiful, you know, it's such a wonderful gift to this planet. But there's just, what's the word I want to use? There's so much energy in there, but it's affecting different chemicals and things in our bodies. And we don't know that when we pick it up. We feel it, right? But we actually don't know what's going on. And so many people miss out on it because they just don't get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. The crystals, contains history and energy and consciousness. Sometimes try it. Take a very powerful crystal, just put it on your third eye. Sometimes you'll see vision of something. Other times it'll just help you meditate. Sometimes certain ones can raise your consciousness very high. So check it out next time. Just put it there and see how you feel.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends, right? And they'll go, okay, so Jimmy, put this crystal on your nightstand. Put this one under your pillow. Hold this one in your hand when I'm like, you know, nah. I'm okay. I'm going to discover this stuff on my own. I don't know, because I've had crystals in my bedroom where I've had like crazy sleep.
Yeah.
And the sleep didn't get back to normal until I removed said crystal to downstairs or into another room. And so that stuff, it's not imagination. It's for real. You know what?
In fact, I have a funny story about that.
Go ahead.
One time, my wife was sleeping, and she's not into this thing at all. And I decided to put some crystals in the pillow, and she has trouble dreaming. She doesn't dream at all, or if she dreams, she doesn't remember it. So that I put a couple of crystals in a pillow. She woke up and said, "Oh my God, I had all these dreams. What did you do? Something? Did you put a crystal in my pillow?" And I did. And ever since then, she dreams and she remembers it. So it's not like a suggestion. She didn't know it was happening.
Does she still do it?
No. She doesn't do it anymore because she needs to rest. I think she was dreaming too much.
Right.
She wears crystals now.
It's a good story, though. That's when you sneak them, put them under the mattress. Let's back up a little bit, if you don't mind. I want to talk about your childhood and your father. So, if that's okay, can we do that?
Of course.
Okay. I know a little bit about your history. I just don't know what zone I can go into. And this is, this is like top secret stuff here. So, what did I'll leave it to you to tell us. What did your father do?
He was in the military, handling top secret things, and he worked at White Sands, New Mexico, which is not too far from Roswell, New Mexico, during the 1940s.
That was the most secret place in the world. Still is, actually. It's still pretty secret. And can you tell us what he did?
Well, he was involved in like top secret photography. So I know that they would retrieve V2 rockets from the Nazis. So they would take pictures of it. I think they would film it, and they would develop top secret pictures.
And that was his job. So he was a photographer of military technology at White Sands.
Yes.
That's pretty top level stuff.
Right.
That would indicate to me that he knows all the secrets, right?
Well, he was a very secretive person too. He never told me anything about it until years later. One day I was watching TV and I was watching about the Roswell incident, and he's behind me smoking, and he goes, "Oh, I was there." I go, "What? After all these years, you finally tell me that you were there? Why didn't you tell me earlier?"
So when he says he was there, he meant he was at the Roswell crash site?
No, he said that one time he was developing pictures, and then his buddy told him that the pictures he was developing was from that crash in 1947. So, but he wouldn't tell me anymore. He's a kind of a very obedient military guy, and but it was enough for him to even talk about it.
So, was he saying that the crash happened?
Well, yeah. Right? Well, I mean, obviously, because he had the pictures he developed.
Right. And what was your reaction? Oh, what was in the pictures? Did he give any indication of that?
He wouldn't talk about it. And I think that when you're doing top secret stuff, the way he developed it was upside down. But I'm sure, knowing my dad, he probably flipped over, but he wouldn't tell me. Yeah. But he's always been fascinated with the paranormal. I mean, he's like listening to Art Bells for many years. So it's probably reliving those memories of what he saw. Right.
Is he still with us?
No, he passed away a while ago.
Okay. Did you, with what you do now, did you have the opportunity to go back and ask your father questions?
Unfortunately, he's a very quiet person, and didn't get a chance to ask anymore. It was when I was younger that he told me that. And he's one of these tough guys that, you don't have a conversation with. He's like, he talks, you listen. You just got to be quiet and stay out of trouble.
Right. Very interesting. When did you live in New Mexico also with him?
No, I didn't live in New Mexico. That was in the military. But I did visit the area because I wanted to trace the history. So I did go back to the White Sands, New Mexico, and then I went to Roswell, New Mexico, to look around, just to feel the energy, the vibes, how it was like for him to be there. And of course, Roswell sounds like going to the museums of all the Roswell UFO in the ETs and all that. So I just wanted to visit that place, and it was a beautiful experience.
You know what surprised me the most about New Mexico, which explains a lot about the Roswell crash site, is there's nothing there. There's nothing there. New Mexico was void of everything, right? When you're driving down the freeway, any freeway, you can go for dozens and dozens and dozens of miles before you see anything. Not a house, not a cow, nothing there. I mean, it's just wide open. Now it explains a lot about Los Alamos and White Sands and the testing and things, because it's very, very remote. But the other part that I found really interesting is, if anything wanted to do something and not get found out, like ET visiting this planet, New Mexico, man. New Mexico, there's nobody there to see you. And the other part, when people research the Roswell crash, they are assuming that the crash is like next to the city of Roswell and everybody should have seen it. That's not the case, is it? Roswell's wide open.
That's right. In fact, I think the crash happened at a ranch.
Yeah, it happened at a ranch, 65 hour and a half hour outside of Roswell, to the north and to the north and east. When did you first start having your contact experiences?
Well, actually, I didn't know about it until years later. When I was young, probably between 8 and 10 years old, I was at a farm at Fairfield. And I was lost. I think it was about an hour time. And I don't remember the details what happened, but I do remember going back to the farm. So I just left it at that. I said, oh, well. And then years later, I studied hypnosis, regression therapy, past life regression. And we were practicing it. And so someone practiced on me, and I had a regression, and I went back in time to that point where I was at Fairfield. Interesting enough, the instructor, she was clairvoyant. And so when we were going to discuss about our experiences, she looked at me. I was in the back of the classroom, and she started to smile and says, yeah. And she's like, she tuned into my consciousness. I don't know how she did it, but she saw what I saw in my regression, which is being escorted by two beings who are not human, and one on each side, very, very tall. And that explained why, since I was young, had a fascination with the skies, with the stars. And I'm always looking up, feeling like there's something I need to connect with. And then throughout my life, I would always meet people who were either abductees or people who had experience witnessing UFO phenomenon. So then it made sense, And then on top of that, I had one time a past life regression, my very first one. I was doing it for fun. And this hypnotherapist was very good. And he brought me back in time. And actually, I went back in time to the past life. And I was at a kind of a desert area. I was some prince in Egypt. But I didn't like that life. And so I gave up that life to be a healer. Somehow I was working in a sleeping temple. And I saw that lifespan from the young age all the way to the day that this person I died in that past life. And all of a sudden, you would think angels coming to kind of greet me. What I saw was like extraterrestrial entities. And they were assisting me in my transition to the next realm. So it seems like there was a past life connection and a current life connection. And my father was like part of that history. And just the people that just gravitate to me, they have experience with these things as well. So I have no doubt that there was some experience connecting me to these beings.
And have you had a sighting that you can't explain too as well? There's something in the sky, or in your personal space.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them, the UFO, and I actually filmed them. There was one that I caught in camera that was in Sedona. So Sedona, it has many vortexes. They seem to go places where there's a lot of vortexes. So I actually caught it in my naked eye, and I got my camera out, and I caught the thing was flying around for like probably 10 to 20 seconds. And you can tell because they fly erratically. We have the UFO created by the government through reverse engineering, but these are not that way. They zip away real fast, erratic patterns. And so I've seen one or two in Sedona, and then Mount Shasta is also another sacred place. It's a huge vortex, the root chakra of the planet. And I've seen some are cloaked. Some are like, I've seen like I took a picture. It's weird because I'll be driving and I get a feeling that something's there. I'll just put my camera on the mount and have it record it. And all of a sudden I capture something. And one time I captured something that's like a cloud, but it had like a rim around it. There's like some UFO underneath of it. And it's known in Mount Shasta that they have a lot of UFOs there because there's a big vortex. And a lot of people witness it all the time. And in the evening, one time I saw something flying and it had certain color. And then I followed with the camera and it kept on changing color. And then finally it zipped away. So then I have friends who live there too, and they share pictures of what they've taken as well. So no doubt that they exist. You know, many of them are legitimate, and many of them are creations from our own government or other people's government.
Do you think? Okay, my question would be, but I need to go back and unpack everything that you just said. I want to talk about Sedona and Shasta and the types of craft that you were seeing, but is there also a spiritual element to it as well? Many indigenous cultures will talk about spirits and orbs of light and different cultures around the world. Or are they seeing ET and ET craft and just associating it with spirituality?
You know, the thing is, just like human beings, you know, we've got people who are more working in love, compassion, kindness. Just like, and then we have other people who are very greedy and selfish. Well, there are similar things with the extraterrestrial beings. You know, they have some that are trying to help humanity, kind of plant some seeds into people's mind to be more concerned about the planet. And then you have the other types that are more destructive, that are trying to just milk the system and enjoy themselves here. So from my experience, it's more of a spiritual connection there. In fact, I have a necklace here. This was given to me by a Buddhist master, in fact, Master Relica. And she got it many years ago. She met these Buddhist monks, and they would go to the mountain and they would meditate together to make a connection directly to the extraterrestrial, the benevolent ones, the enlightened ones. And so they were giving away these necklaces. And somehow this Master Relica didn't know why, but she said, I need two. And she kept it for many years. She kept one for herself. And then when she finally met me, she said, now I know why I got two, because this one belongs to you. And so when I go out to places that are mystical, I'll wear it at Sedona and Mount Shasta. And sometimes these things happen. When I wear it, I get a sighting of a UFO. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, why do you think that is? If you go out, well, it's not all the time, but I've done a lot of sky watching,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've seen a lot of crazy things. Okay, but if you go out with a group of people and everything is positive, you don't have to do a CE5, you don't have to meditate, you just have a good vibe. You're going to have fun and you're going to see something. But if you've got one person in the group, right, doing that, you're not going to see it. There's a definite conscious connection with ET. They do like to drive by and say hello, don't they?
They do. And they're attracted to very high conscious people.
Right.
A friend of mine, she showed me this video, and she saw a UFO in LA. She's very spiritually evolved, and she was making contact and talking to it. And you can see the reaction as she's talking to the UFO. It's responding in a way that shows that they're understanding her. There's like a dialogue going on. They'll either change the brightness, shape, or something to show that they're communicating through the telepathy. It's pretty amazing.
The first time that I hate talking about myself, but let me relate this to you. So I'm with a friend of mine. His name's Steve, and Steve Murillo, a close friend, and he's somebody that I've got a lot of respect for. He's a very smart, intelligent real estate fighter pilot and all that stuff. Went to the U.S. Naval Academy, right? Smart guy, together guy, professional.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells me when I go, so man, one night, I'm out with some friends and they go, see that right there? That's a UFO. Watch this. And they take out this laser pointer and they go bleep, bleep, and they blink back twice. And then they hit it 3 times and then it blinked back. I'm like, Steve, stop, right? No. The first time I did that, and I got a response back, I about lost it. It was just a very, very, very strange experience. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it's pretty amazing because the Earth is a big place. Now, granted, a laser from the ground being pointed at the sky is probably could be seen, I assume, but there's also the conscious connection of the intention of the moment too, as well. But there is a way to communicate, at least to just say hello. We know you're there. Can you acknowledge us? This does happen, doesn't it?
Yes, I mean, it happens to the extraterrestrial, but also to the angelic world, to ascended masters and the God, if you want to talk about that. I mean, this whole universe is a whole consciousness. We're all connected at our heart chakra, this kind of a cosmic entanglement.
When during your regression and when you went back, I was just recently regressed. I've only been regressed once, and it was very revealing. During your regression, you said it was about an hour on this farm that you didn't remember. How vivid was the recall? And now is the memory permanently with you?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty vivid because when you see something like that, like a extraterrestrial being, I mean, that's not what you see every day. And then you see yourself as a kid with these beings side by side with you, and so it stays with you. I mean, so it's like, wow, I had a direct contact with these beings, and that explains my total obsession with these beings. I mean, I have a whole collection of all these different species of it, and now that makes sense. Why am I collecting them? Why am I fascinated with skies? Why am I collecting all these UFO? Why? And it's because I had this event that happened in this lifetime and also the past life as well. So it's something that it's not going to go away. And to me, it's something spiritual because you're just one of the creations of the universe. We humans, animals, and there's extraterrestrials, angels. It's all part of the hierarchy. And then I'm working with those who care about our civilization, our planet, and then together we're just trying to make the planet a better place.
Were you told anything? Were you shown anything? What happened during that hour?
I don't have any recall beyond that. I just saw that because it was such a short time in the class. I should probably get another regression one day, but we were just students practicing, and so you only have a short time, and during that short time that came up. So, but I mean, I know, like for me, the ascended masters, different beings would communicate to me, not directly, but through telepathy. And that's how I write these books. These books are not just, I don't just sit down and start writing books. I get downloads. Actually, the first book I was writing, Dare to Imagine, I was writing, initially it was a novel, and it was supposed to be a comedy Joy Luck Club. And all of a sudden I started getting downloads of wisdom, principles, spiritual teachings. And if I don't write it, I keep getting bombarded with this. I could be sleeping, I could be driving, and I keep getting this bombardment. So eventually I learned, I said that, you know what, I better start writing this down. And then all of a sudden the energy shifted. And then when I started to embrace the knowledge and incorporate it in my life, I started reaching higher consciousness. And then the universe gave me 18 principles, which evolved me from the person I was before to who I am right now. And then when I'm done, the download stopped. So I said, okay, good. I did my purpose in life. I listened to the universe. I wrote down what they wanted. And a few years later, it starts happening again. The second book, Beyond Imagination. And that one was the birth of my mystical journey. So then that was done. I said, okay, I'm finished. I talked about my mystical journey, yada, yada. I did my good deed. I can live a normal life again. And all of a sudden, like the 2018, 2019, I started getting downloads again. And then I was getting guidance on writing things about health and wellness. I said, well, why am I writing about this? And eventually, then we had this huge health crisis. So in retrospect, I realized that the universe was communicating to me the principles, information to help humanity to navigate through the crisis more gracefully. And so, yeah, it's amazing how it happens. But, so from what I know, they're concerned about the planet from the nuclear part of it and all the EMF and so forth. So right now, I'm trying to do the best I can to educate people through my books, through the interviews, through lectures, to empower humanity to wake up and realize the direction we're heading towards is not a good way. We're kind of in this web of a matrix of ego consciousness. And this is the time for transformation. That's why my book is called, the third one is called A New Beginning, an antidote to civilization, because there's a solution. And so these information are not from me, it's from the universe sharing to humanity, from the ascended beings. So when they give me these downloads, not only do they do that, they give me the masters and teachers on earth that gives that information too. And a lot of, probably over 25 experts gave me their time to talk to them about their expertise on health and wellness or spirituality, so that we can get all this information in one book to share to people. And depending on the readiness, some will learn about health, other people will learn about higher consciousness. So it's like it's almost like 10 books in one. But right at that time, I knew what was going on and that I had to get the book out soon because the world was going through such a free fall and so much craziness was happening.
Still is. Hasn't stopped.
It's getting better, though. It's getting better.
I agree with you. As crazy as it seems, right? And the level of crazy is, yeah, right. I get that. I do. But we've gone through crazy before, right? And I feel that, Blake, that we humans have chronic amnesia. It's like they forget yesterday. And man, the world is crazy. And I just want to, have you ever heard of World War II? Did you? I mean, it was pretty crazy. That was pretty nuts. And I don't know about you, but that was pretty crazy. The Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Persian Gulf War, 2 of them, right? Afghan. It's not like any of this is new. And I think it's always been, but I actually think that we're starting to mature and grow up a little bit, that the world, it may not seem like it right now, but from where I'm sitting, I think things are starting to chill out.
I think so. I see it too. I think there's more people waking up, more people taking actions, more people working together.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good time to be alive. And I think a lot of people don't realize the power that they have. To wait for everybody to wake up, that'll never happen. It doesn't take everybody. Just one person working and living in a state of enlightenment consciousness, you can affect probably 65 million people, according to Dr. Hawkins. And a person living in the love state of consciousness can affect 650,000 people. So just working your own cultivation alone can negate some of the negativity of all these people. But there's a lot more work to be done. You have to work on that level. You have to work on a legal level, and you have to work on all levels of education, social media platform, everywhere, like what you're doing, until we wake up humanity and empower the humanity to have the tools to impact the human consciousness.
Isn't it in ET's best interest to at least observe and maybe drop a hint or two about what we should do or our future? Because I would think, I'm not talking about the Star Trek Prime Directive, but if we encounter a planet with intelligent life, but we are more advanced than them, and we see them going in the wrong direction, it's in our best interest that they don't go in the wrong direction. Right. And so,
Yeah, but there's this free will, and they can't really interfere. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and the thing is, there's also a lot of dark entities or extraterrestrial beings on the planet, and so they're kind of part of that ego consciousness. And you can call them all these different names, but they're part of it though. And then there's a whole small group of people that also are part of that too. They have this alliance together. They're very good at deception and selling things to us and creating this artificial reality. They're even creating artificial food, and the artificial intelligence. So we're losing that connection to the divine. So there's that side that's trying to distract us to live in this matrix and be happy. That one guy said, we'll be happy that, and we don't have money, we'll be happy. But there's a whole side that's divine, organic nature, divine nature. Now we all have the part of, and we're connected to this universal consciousness. You want to call it God or whatever you want to call it, but it exists within us. You cut your finger, your body doesn't know what to do, But if you put all the wrong types of stuff in your body, your body has a hard time healing itself. But there is a divine intelligence on the planet Earth. It's a living planet. It's not just a little rock that we're sitting on. It's a living rock. And we have this whole universe inside our bodies with all these pathways and freeways, meridians and nadis and chakras, and pranic energy and chi is a whole dynamic system. And that system is being replicated on Earth with chakras around too. So there are things that try to affect these chakras and ley lines, for nefarious purposes. Then you have light workers trying to balance it out. Ultimately, this is kind of a battle of the good and evil, dark and light. And to me, it's a battle between ego consciousness and unity consciousness and love consciousness to try to raise that energy so we can see and so we can evolve and we can step into the sovereignty of our divinity and assert that. But most people say, well, what can one person do? But they can. If you go within, the answer is within yourself. Unlock that divine mystery, that cosmic presence. Some people call it the I am present, the Holy Spirit, the Atman, but there's something divine. And we tap into that and we connect to these masters, to God, the creator, to all these divine beings, extraterrestrial beings. I pray every day. I pray and thank all the saints, all the avatars, and all the enlightened beings, including the enlightened extraterrestrial beings, because they exist. If they wanted to wipe us out, they would have wiped us out a long time ago. But there's this group out there that's working within our infrastructure, and they're affecting things in a negative way. In fact, there's a certain species that thrive on negative energies, and circumstance on our planet is being created to cause people to suffer in a global way, like what happened in the past couple of years. And when that happens, you got people who have anger, anxiety, depression that creates this weird negative energy. But guess what? There are beings, there are people that thrive off of this energy, this dark energy.
Oh, you're talking about Twitter.
Yeah, I didn't say that. That's just one platform.
Right. But here's the strange part about that. Is it just that black and white, positive and negative, ones and zeros, light and dark, hot and cold, yin and yang, right? That is everything just balances out. You can't have one without the other, and that is just the universe in general.
Well, that's the key word is balance. But when
Right.
you have one side that's infringing on the free will of the other side, and it kind of influencing almost in a subconscious way,
Right.
Then there's something wrong with that. There's a lot of
Right. You got to keep the balance in check.
Right,
is what I'm saying.
That's what creates a movement in life. You have to have that balance. So right now there's like a little tug of war going on, but there has to be more light. There has to be more feminine energy in the planet, and we just need to wake up people more, so that we can shift it in the right way, so that we won't spiral in the wrong direction of entropy and chaos and destruction. Because we can't hit that direction, but our choices we make right now can affect our outcome. So I'm optimistic. There's a lot of people working behind the scenes, from doctors and lawyers, enlightened beings, mystics, everybody's working to bring the world to a better place, and the shifting there, especially this year. So I think there's hope for the future.
I've always found it interesting how science comes into the picture when I have this kind of conversation with somebody, because the science part of it answers a lot of questions. And right now, I just find it very, very interesting that we're having this conversation about dark matter and dark energy. That is the other half, right? We have matter, but all matter is balanced out with antimatter. And you know what I mean? Positive gravity, negative gravity. And it's just like really strange how science wants to have that conversation. You and I are having this conversation, and something inside of me, Blake, says we're talking about the same things.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So where does this, if this is the case, where does this wisdom come from? Is consciousness of the physical, or is it non-physical? And if it's non-physical and we're getting into some kind of intelligent divine design of everything, then is that what dark matter is? Is that what I'm using? They call it dark matter because we can't see it, right? Mm-hmm. They call it dark energy because it doesn't reflect light, so we can't see it. It's not that it's evil energy. I'm not saying that, right? Mm-hmm. But that consciousness is connecting the universe, but physics is telling us so is dark energy. And so is dark matter. It's very strange. So maybe this divine wisdom has been here for eternity.
Yes, I mean, the divine wisdom has been here since the beginning of time. It's one pure consciousness of the universe that creates everything. So everything in the universe, the planets, all of us are part of that expression of consciousness, affected by the planetary influences, and also on the electromagnetic influence of the planet, influenced by the elements, the air, the water, metal, as being translated into our body through our nadis, through our meridians, through our chakras, through the dosas, and that filters out how we process the world. Consciousness is invisible. I mean, you can look for it, you won't find it, but it's come from this one big consciousness, but kind of affected by all these things I mentioned, the elements, the planets, the solar connection, everything to our bodies. And then depending on how we eat and how we perceive things, we express that consciousness differently. And depends on how we lived our life in the past and how many past life we live. And all that, if we wake up, we raise up our vibrational consciousness to be more in alignment with the universe, the cosmos. And when we do that inner search through meditation, through the years of cultivation, devotion, practices, we get discovered of our true nature. And so at the end, a lot of these Buddhist masters, specifically the Tibetan Buddhist masters, they attain liberation, where they break that cycle of the karmic cycle, and they can go beyond to the next realm, and they can come back if they choose to. They can communicate. So they're actually conscious still. Otherwise, we get caught in this whole cycle, this wheel of karma. We pass away, we go to the celestial realm, and then through default, we come back because of our things we've done in the past. That's very negative and toxic. So through karma, we come back to the planet with a blank slate again. So that's kind of a hell until you wake up and then until you do the spiritual practices that set you free out of the matrix, so to speak.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then
And E.T. would understand all of this.
yeah, they should, you would think.
Well, the crazy part is that all of these answers Einstein was chasing, or all of these physicists and the theory of everything, and just trying to get, they're seeking this and seeking this. And E.T., I don't know if we can handle the truth, but if E.T. shows up and goes, man, it's really this simple, right? It's like that. And then suddenly everything opens up. I think these answers are much more simple than what science is trying to make it. I heard Brian Greene say the other day, right? He's trying to get to 11 dimensions, right? He's trying to find them all. He's working on the math and string theory. And he actually said this, Blake. He goes, well, if we keep working at it, we might be able to finish things up in about 50 to 100 years. What? He's not going to be around, right? You have to pass the baton to your students, right? Your post grads, and they're going to keep working on this and keep crunching the numbers. And and they're trying to make it complicated. I don't think it is that complicated.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but in some ways you can think it's simplistic. I mean, if I look at things, to me, they seem very obvious to me. But to some other people, it seems too complicated because they don't have the experiences. They don't have the level of consciousness. So as you go higher in consciousness through the meditation, then you see things differently. As you evolve, your eyes open to greater perspectives, to greater reality that exists. Even seeing like the other realm, you seeing like even the paranormal, seeing a ghost, things like that. And I've seen ghosts in different ways, in the physical form, non-physical form. There's entities, there's demonic beings. They exist. They are part of this inner realm, and they're all part of this life. And physical being is one thing, but you have the ascended masters, and you have all these archangels and so forth. So we're not alone, but we have power over these entities, and if we live in love and light, they kind of repel from these kind of things. But if we do weird practice like the Ouija board or pray around, things like that, we invite them into our presence. And it's kind of a dangerous thing, because when they get into your presence, they can attach to you, or they can penetrate your aura and live in your being for years and alter how you think and how you feel.
Philosophers, I think anybody can be a philosopher, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really strange to me. So, and I've got all these philosophy books, and they're trying to, I think their intentions are good, but they're making things much more difficult for people that are seeking very simple answers. So I decided I'm going to write a book on philosophy.
That sounds great.
It's going to be one page, and I am going to sell 1 billion of them. And on one page, it's going to say, find your bliss and do the right thing. Because that's what all philosophy is about, right? Trying to go deep into these things and these existential, and making everything, people are just, they're looking for more simple. I don't know, man. It seems like philosophers just wanted to continue their intelligence with another page of making the previous page even more complicated and deeper and deeper. And then, and one page, man, one line is all you need.
Well, sometimes you gotta keep it simple, that sometimes you get too complicated, people lose it. They don't know what's going on anymore. They're all caught up in rituals. There's a lot of people who are very intelligent. They memorize a lot of stuff, but that's not where it's at. You gotta keep it basic, action is where it counts. And
Yeah,
living
that's
that
right.
state of
That's right. That's right.
bliss, essentially living in a high state of consciousness and vibrational energy. So, I mean, you sound like a very ancient soul. So, I mean, that's wonderful words.
You know, you read, and it's all really honestly saying the same thing. And peeling it apart and taking it to another level and okay, all right, you're getting off of the target again. You're flying over the target. Stay right there. Find your bliss. Do the right thing. Right. Find your happiness and do the right thing. Don't do the wrong thing. That's it. That's all philosophy right there. It's all answered.
Make that to a T-shirt. That'd be a nice T-shirt.
Hey, good idea. And I'm not saying that, but when you go and explore the ancient mystics, or you get into the ancient teachings, and it doesn't matter what cave wall you're looking at or what sacred site you're at, it's all the same message if you stop and think about it. They understood that, and it's like right there in front of us. And that when you make those connections, I feel that it's all in our DNA, and that this reincarnation thing or a past life, and you're making a connection with a site that you can't explain, maybe that's it, right? That you have been there before, and you do understand the wisdom that is in front of you. Sometimes it can bring you to tears.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And if I hear, okay, so check this out, and then we're going to take a break. Here's my imitation of an ancient wise shaman. Here's my imitation. It's to go up, you must go down. Well, duh. Right? To go left, you must first go right. Well, yeah, I get that. Don't take the high road, take the low, whatever it is. It's just like but it's all the same thing, isn't it? And it goes right back to yin and yang, good and bad, positive and negative, electricity, the universe, and everything else is based on those two basic principles. That's it.
You're a very wise man and a wise guy.
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Sir Blake Sinclair. We are talking about UFOs, shamans, society, everything else. We'll be right back. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now.
My job is not to preach. My job is to take you on this journey.
In a state of passion, nothing negative can happen.
That it's the moons of those planets that would have life.
Sometimes I see, these energies also in your field.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. This is Jimmy Church. Please visit and explore Egypt this October 3rd through the 14th, 2024 with Billy, Elizabeth, myself, and very special guest and the #1 podcaster in the world, Sean Kelly. It's simple to do. Just go to forbiddenknowledge.com and click on upcoming tours, or click on the link below. We'll see you there. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black T-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 T-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. And right now, if you get a Game Changer membership for a limited time, you will get Fade to Black Blend coffee with your Game Changer membership. That's right. We have 2 T-shirts. We have the original, the classic Fade to Black T-shirt. You know you want one. Post a picture. Send it to us. We'll put it in our Fade to Black gallery. And we've got the new official Fade to Black T-shirt drawn by Michael Oming. 2 T-shirts, 2 ways to get them. Get yours today. Everything is in stock. Everything gets autographed. Everything includes shipping. And you're going to get a tracking number. And with the Game Changer membership, you get an email to me. You get unlimited commercial-free downloads of the show. Those are uploaded every single night after the show to the website. So don't delay. Get your Fade to Black T-shirt today. Go Backley Tappy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Sir Blake Sinclair. And Blake, I wanted to ask you, you were given the gift of vision. When did that happen? And when we say something as grand as that, what are we talking about?
You know, when I was young, I would have visions of things like, I would have a vision of the future. Before I even understood about cars and so forth, I saw the future where cars had sensors, and how, you know, there was a sensor that kind of warned you about being too close or something like that. And so, I mean, that was like many, many years ago, before they even had that technology. And then when I got older, I had a vision of the future where there was a lot of electromagnetic energy of vehicles. They're able to levitate. And it was like even public transportation. So from what I see, there is a future for us. It just happened spontaneously. Just like I have visions of things that sometimes I meet somebody, I have a vision of where they came from. Not only that, I'll see like maybe where their ancestors came from, and I never know when they have it. It just happens, to me. And so I have visions when I meditate. Visions of the ascended beings, and I get validated by some kind of physical proof later on. So that's my experience with visions.
Is it almost like a precognition?
Yeah. I just get this, all of a sudden this image comes right up, and then I see it. It just reveals like a sneak preview, and then I said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting," and I didn't know that kind of thing can exist. And so I said, "Okay, maybe the universe is trying to tell me something about the future," and I just let it go. And then later on, 20, 30 years later, this vision that I have, it just happens in reality. They start making cars like that, and as a young kid, I don't even know anything about cars, and and seeing that kind of thing is kind of amazing.
What kind of dogs do you have?
King Charles Cavalier.
And what is that? What's a King Charles Cavalier?
Oh, the Lady and the Tramp Dog.
The lady. You're right. Okay, right. See, that's what you should have just said that. Lady and the Tramp Dog. What is the Royal Equestrian Order of Michael Archangel?
It's a humanitarian order that's the Prince Garios. It's part of that humanitarian order that helps support the Middle East, Lebanon, and Syria. And he's part of a royal lineage that goes back a couple of thousand years ago to the Ghassanid Empire dynasty. And they were known as the Christian kings of the Middle East. And they were like a very noble family. And they lost the power during the Ottoman Empire. And the surviving families, they split through all these people that were trying to take the power away. But they end up keeping their titles, and they became humanitarians, helping wherever they went, wherever they live. A lot of them went to Brazil, and that's where Prince Garios is from. And right now he's the direct heir to that dynasty, and he's working towards bringing more humanitarian efforts in a different way. And he's working systematically to kind of impact the world and bringing more peace in the world, more harmony. And he gives, talks to people from all faith. I think about a few months ago, he went to Princeton, talking to religious leaders, trying to brainstorm, problem solve how we can work together to end some of these terrorism, or there's terrorist actors. There's always somebody out there is causing trouble. Usually it's the extremists, So he's working on different sides to bring order. And it's a beautiful group to belong to. And he has a team, I think it's in Syria, a football team. And they work with children, at-risk children, who, if they were not given the support, they might end up being terrorists. And so he'll get maybe a connection with professional football players or professional people working with these kids to help them develop and foster the ego, the sense of dignity and respect for a human. And so that's his angle to help people, and helping children get food that need food or milk for the babies. But it's a beautiful order, and I'm glad to be a part of it to support him. And I believe in him and bringing more peace through that way too, because I tried different ways to bring peace in the world. So that's one platform, and my books are another platform. Just talking to more and more people out there to bring the awareness of what's going on in the world, and how we can all coexist together as one. Doesn't matter the religion, and it's not an order. Oh, and also the order went back back into the biblical times. It was they were there even before the Crusaders. The order was actually protecting Christians against persecution. So it's kind of an old order, but nowadays it's more just supporting humanity. So
is ET religious? Let me ask you this before you answer. Okay, if we take the Bible as the Bible, or not any, but most versions of religion, it seems earth-centric, except they talk about the heavens. and the creation of everything. So then, therefore, it seems that Jesus must be in the Andromeda galaxy also, right? Or some version of it. So that's my take. I'm okay with it if that's the case. By the way, I play the odds. Right? I play the odds on this one. But is ET religious?
I don't think so. I mean, when we talk about religion is man-made. I mean, the people get the information, they get inspired by God, but then humanity, politics, we edit the Bible, we edit the holy books to fit the politics at the time. And then all these editors, when they get involved, anytime you have editors involved, you kind of dilute the original information, the original knowledge. So I think there's some general truth there, but I think there's a lot of things that were taken away on purpose, and things were, maybe some books were pulled away, and some characters maybe were portrayed in a negative way. So I think if you want greater truth, you have to go beyond that. The Bible is one Bible. Then you have the Bhagavad Gita, the holy Bible of the Indian people, and it has a lot of sacred teachings. My perspective is that the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, all these different religions are just kind of like clues that the universe is giving to us to understand the universe. Because we as humans, our brains are wired differently. If you're from one country, you think differently. You think your country is the best. But when we realize, there's this cosmic consciousness, and if you look at the intersection of all religions, all mysticism, all those spiritual paths, it's an intersection where the truth exists. It's not just a one place. And I think if you're looking at one place, you're missing the big picture. If you look at what Christ taught, what Buddha taught, what all these different masters taught, then you begin to understand. You get to see the pattern of what the universe is telling you. But a lot of it, what I see, what I read, sounds like it's more of a man-made religion, because man puts his anger, his emotions into the whatever book it is, and he's not reading about the divine being. Because when you look at consciousness, the lowest level is like anger, fear, jealousy. That's a very primitive consciousness, emotion. As you go higher up, you think beyond that. It's like a universal, unconditional love. That's very high. And so a lot of these people write things in terms of the man's way of thinking. If you don't listen to me, I'm going to punish you. That's judgment. Judgment is a very low frequency. So when you
but he loves you.
Yeah, but if you truly love someone, right, you don't judge them. You love them unconditionally. So that's why a lot of things you have to learn and involve and meditate to get higher consciousness. Otherwise, you look at the book and you believe everything they say. But once you go very high level, you see the truth. And you filter out what's human and what's divine. So I think so. So if you read all the holy books and you open your mind and tap into your true nature, you begin to see the whole reality different. And it's a message of love and hope and salvation. It's not a message of judgment, eternal damnation. There are people who had near-death experience. They die and they go to hell. Because in their mind, they think that if you do bad things, you go to hell. But once they let go of that vision, they get out of that. Because it's what we put in our mind that creates reality into the next realm. Until that dissipates into a pure reality. And then we go to this dimension. And what keeps us there is our actions, our thinking, our emotions, and our training. And if you didn't do anything, your soul just falls back into the body. Near-death experiences like that, your soul comes right back to the same body, and you come alive again. So then you get reincarnation, you die, and your soul just goes to another body and gets rebirth again. And if you've been working on a lot of spiritual work, you have more consciousness. You remember parts of your past life. Or you may integrate some of those skills you had before. Maybe you were a concert pianist, and then so you come back, and then as a kid, you're playing piano already, because that past life is bleeding through. So in order for us to evolve, we have to wake up. We have to learn tolerance, acceptance, unity. And everybody, the good and evil, we just need to cooperate. Even the people so-called evil, they are teachers for us. They teach us something. They teach us to stop being lazy. Wake up. Take your life into your own action and do things you need to do to rise up. If we don't have them to wake us up, we'll be asleep. So we should thank them. So it's not. That's why I don't like the word good and evil. Maybe ego consciousness versus unity consciousness, love consciousness and God consciousness. So bring more in alignment.
Could you wait? You know what? Without evil, life would be boring. I mean, if it was just all good all the time, I could only take so much of that. I could only take so much.
A couple of sprinkles of evil.
Yeah, I can only take so much. Okay, so do you necessarily come back to Earth, or could you go to another planet or star system for your next life?
I think it depends on your actions on this life and your practices. If you practice a lot of meditation, higher consciousness thing, you can affect like the direction where you go, because it's just
you can. Okay.
Yeah. But I think in general, like if you did all these terrible things by default, you come back. But if you reach a certain high consciousness, like the Tibetan Buddhist masters, or all these people who are able to figure out the code to break that karmic cycle, then you can go to all these different realms. So you can go to the other realm, the other planet, other dimensions, other heavens, if you will, and you can also come back to this reality. Like Master Relica I mentioned earlier, she had a friend who was a master, and when he passed away, he actually attained liberation. So he would communicate with her from the other side. But so you have that conscious awareness. But otherwise, if you don't cultivate yourself, by default, you just come back and you're just blank slate. You don't have that ability. But it's possible.
Isn't it? Somebody just said, "All good all the time would be exciting." I just saw that zip by in the chat. And what I mean, what I'm saying is sometimes you need. I don't go out to clubs and I don't drink, or I gave up all the fun stuff. I gave up Haagen-Dazs. Man, I never thought I'd see the day. But sometimes you want to go out in back of the gym and smoke cigarettes with your friends. And you need to have a little edge. But anyway, so back to
that goes with the yin and yang of life. That we need that to kind of push us to move forward.
Yeah, I could not take eternity of listening to the Carpenters. That would just no. I need some Pantera in my life too as well. But if that is the case, would you call Buddhism a religion, or is that more of a belief system? Go
ahead. So,
well, I mean, because not everything to me technically is like a religion. But there are things out there but if you get down to the root of it, the list of being a good person is just about the same.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of religions, including Buddhism, is considered a religion. But there are, to me, if you really dig down to it, there are a lot of practices. So to me, Buddhism is more of some people call it a philosophy, or I would say it's a technique of how to control your mind, your consciousness. It's almost like a science of understanding your consciousness. So to me, it's beyond religion. But Buddhism has different parts of Buddhism. So to me, the Tibetan practice to me is more of the techniques, the knowledge, the wisdom of how to navigate out of this karmic cycle. They tell you exactly what to do. Especially
I just did. Find your bliss.
Good luck.
Do the right thing. Find your bliss. If I go to the Dalai Lama Right? I sit down and go, okay, so dude, so check this out. What's the secret, man? Well, find your bliss, do the right thing. I knew it. That's it.
No. But what happens with that is that if you live like that, then you may go to another realm and come back with maybe a better life, because there are actually techniques of how the energy moves in the body. You know, we have these kundalini energy, and when you die, your consciousness energy expels in your body. So you have to train your mind how to think and then how to prepare for all the different bardos, the different portals of consciousness as you exist and go beyond earthly plane. So if you understand that and you train your body, so then you don't get trapped going the wrong way. So then you make sure you get out of this cycle. I mean, there are people like the second Buddha, Padmasambhava. He attained enlightenment and the liberation. He left the body and then he showed humanity what he can do. He actually left prints on a cave, putting his print through the wall or on top to show that physically his consciousness is still there, but he still can affect matter. You know, so but that takes training. You can't just say, "I'm gonna be happy." Yes, you go and come back to a higher. You may have a better job in the next type. You know, maybe you're a doctor or owns a company or something because you have a good karma. So techniques. So I think that's the unique thing about Buddhism. They have techniques of understanding consciousness, how to dissect your consciousness, how to purify yourself. You know, then I think there's people who work on those energies, those kundalini energies, those prana energies, practicing it, circulating it, and then working on the Shakti energy to release that consciousness. So when I meditate, I expand my consciousness beyond my body. And sometimes I'll end up in another system, another planetary system where I see other beings live differently than us. They live with nature. You know, they're surrounded by plants and they have buildings that are more rounded and more in harmony with the universal energy movement. So that takes technique, that takes training. So it's more than just saying I live in bliss. You can be, you know, smoking marijuana and blissed out, but you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to come back to recycle, and you're going to be another happy dude, you know, enjoying yourself. But if you want that other realm, you got to do some training, because otherwise it'd be too easy, you know. And this whole thing is about learning. It's about growing. It's about seeing that true nature within yourself.
What advice can you give to someone that hasn't found their bliss or their happiness, and they're living a life of frustration because they haven't released that, you know? And once you find your meaning, you know, whatever it is that truly makes you happy, and only you know it, right? Most people keep it a secret. They don't want to verbalize it, and they don't want to achieve action on it. They'd rather just live life in the safe zone and not go out beyond that. What would you say to somebody that's in that position, feeling that frustration?
Well, I would say you get unplugged from technology, get unplugged from distraction, get unplugged from the matrix. You know, social media is a part of the matrix. You know, the TV is part of that matrix. We get distracted on what's good for us, the American dream, the illusion, and get plugged into the divine realm. You know, in our heart chakra, that's kind of like a communication center. And there's like the cosmic present connects to us through there and communicates to us through there. So through meditation, we can access that. And as we still our mind of all those mental, emotional clutter and distractions, just focusing on the breath, eventually we tap into that divine compass. And the divine compass connected to the universe prompts us to get closer to our true nature and to our dharma, to our destiny. So the more we listen to that gentle prompting, it'll guide us to what we need to do, where we need to go. Like right now, I listen to it all the time, and it always brings me to all the people I need to meet and what I should do in life. I just listen to that message, but it takes years of practice. But the first thing is just learning to still your mind, get grounded, you know, connect with the Mother Earth, and to still the mind. You can go to forest or wherever you want, but take up some kind of meditation practice to learn to go inwards. You know, when you go inwards is when you find the great truth. And through meditation, you get insights. You do it enough with the right technique, you attain enlightenment. You see the truth of reality. Then you start to, And when you want to look for something, the universe brings you to what you seek. They give you the knowledge. They bring you the people you need to study from. And that's what happened in my life. I just follow that divine compass. Some people call it the I am presence, but it's in here. Your heart is like your third brain. Your brain up here, then you have your gut is a second brain. Well, your heart is also a brain too, but it's wired into the divine consciousness. And that's where we feel it the most. And if we learn to still our mind, focus within, pretty soon we'll connect to it. If we listen to it consistently, and it will lead us to where we need to go and what we need to do. We just have to be faithful to focus on that, and it will bring us to our path of truth and wisdom. Into our destiny.
I travel a lot. Okay, it's my favorite thing to do. Go to another country, experience the cultures, and go to these very unique, places and experience that and see it. But then there is the travel between here and there. And it is the craziest thing to witness today if you pay attention. Walk through an airport and see how many people are not walking and looking at their cell phone at the same time. It's crazy because nobody does anymore. It's like altered our DNA, Blake.
That's
we
right.
now have the ability to walk and not look where we're going. Right? It's like zombie land.
That's right. It's like a cell phone. It's like a cell. It's like a prison. We're in the cell prison of the cell phone. All of us are kind of, to some degree. But
I refuse to do it. I am the odd man out. I will walk through the airport with my cell phone in my back pocket.
Good for you.
I just don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that what I'm looking at. Now, and I know there are people listening to this show, and that's okay, I get that. I'm not talking down to anybody. What I'm saying is that is something that I recognize. I have not, me personally, and I'm not exaggerating, I have not watched the news in any form in 8 years. I have not watched the news. Now, I read the news, right? I select what I want to be informed on, but I don't watch the news. And there's a big difference there, right? If I'm a seeker of knowledge, I will go and chase where I need to go. That's different. But I have not watched the news on TV, on the internet, on my phone. Watch the news? I haven't done it in 8 years.
No, it's good for you, and it's very healthy. I mean, and people who watch it all the time, they don't realize that all the information is being, created for us artificially, and it's done to evoke certain response or to build up the ratings so that they can make money. But it's not in our best interest. It's toxic for us, actually, to hear all these bad news. And it makes us feel like very stressed out. I had a professor one time, he did the same thing. He stopped watching TV because he heard so many bad news that he ended up having a heart attack and almost died. And I think, to me, it's very unhealthy mentally, emotionally to watch TV on a regular basis. If you want to watch some programs, you choose the ones that are healthy for your mind. What you're doing is one of the best things. I advocate fasting from social media, fasting from TV. It's a healthy practice. People talk about 24-hour fasting. You can do a 1 week fasting, 1 month. But the more you stay away from it, the more you find the truth within yourself. Otherwise, you get indoctrinated. You get confused what's right and wrong. And pretty soon, what you see on TV creates this whole us against them attitude, mentality. So that's not healthy. That's destroying our social structure, our civilization. So, you got to know what's going on in the world, but realize that the whole world, is a stage, and they're manufacturing all the reality they want you to see on TV. They create everything, even situations that we think are really bad, and they're actually like like a movie production, creating this movie to evoke all these responses from us, which is like anger, hatred, and it makes us want to go to war, because people behind the curtains of Oz are creating these things for us to see and consume it and react to it, so that they can sway public opinion. But then people don't realize that the truth doesn't exist.
It's been that way for thousands of years. That's the other part about it. You know, you didn't know, everything is built on some kind of moral dogma, right? Those people over the hill, right? They're boiling babies or whatever it is, right? Whatever. And so we need to go invade. It has always been that way. And now it's easier to do it, obviously, right? The tools are there to manipulate. I figured it out, and that's just me. I just decided to go that route. Here's the other strange thing with this. The universe was created by whom? That's the first question. You'll understand the second question. How did we become into existence?
Oh, you ask me now?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a $1 million question. I mean, nobody knows the absolute truth, but what we do know is that there was like this void, and what I think is the void to me is like this Zen state of consciousness. It's kind of potential energy, and all of a sudden, this light of consciousness, you know, some people call it Om, is spoken to the creation and the manifestation, creating all this reality. I mean, who created it? We don't know. This somehow some mysterious supernatural phenomenon happened. They call it the Big Bang. But what we do know, there's a kind of a divine consciousness in the whole universe, and that we're all connected to it. Maybe there was some other creation. I mean, it's like the void was like a womb, releasing consciousness into creation of reality, and the planets and all of us now. But no one can ever answer that question. We all want to put a God being, like some creator. I believe there is a creator, but is there a creator, or where does it end? Where does it start? I mean,
right.
We'll never know the answer.
Forever is a long time.
Right.
It's a long time, but that all-knowing and divine creator created social media. Right? It's like, wait a minute. And so that would almost be my question to the Dalai Lama, not the secret to life. I've already got that part figured out. But why do that to us? And the answer is, well, it's for us to test ourselves, to figure out right from wrong, to know the zone that we're not supposed to go into. Okay, it seems like a pretty dangerous experiment. But the odds of all of this happening by accident and by chance, I think that's too big of a number. It's too big of a lottery ticket. So I think that there was something intelligent behind it. I just don't know who it is. But then we're also being like tortured in this purgatory of social media madness right now. And that's the part that I don't understand.
You don't understand why it's made, or
why you know what I mean? Why put us through that?
Well, it's just another division of the matrix. I mean, we've gone through so many levels of the matrix. Social media is another matrix, and when they have the artificial intelligence, it brings us to a deeper matrix. Soon, people are going to be dealing with artificial intelligence and thinking that's the reality. So these people behind the curtains of Oz, they created this whole platform to put us into the situation so we don't think anymore. We're just reacting to technology. And that's dangerous, because technology, and if you have a program behind the technology and the artificial intelligence, they can start to learn how to manipulate us, public opinion. They create reality. You can use artificial intelligence and make a good guy look bad. We don't know it's reality anymore. They can make you into like a killer and put a video out there, but through artificial intelligence. That's why we're losing that connection. We got to break out of this vicious cycle, this vicious matrix. It's getting deeper and deeper, and this is the ultimate matrix that was ever created in the history of humanity. So unless we unplug fast from it, we're going to get deeper into it and become more of a prisoner. and we can't even see the truth at all. We see the truth as whatever the leaders, the authority figures tell us, and we think that's the truth. And in reality, it's the puppet figure. Oops, where did you go? Are you still there?
Oh, I'm still here.
But the image is gone.
Oh, well, no, I still have you.
Oh, you see me? Okay.
Yep.
Well, my screen went blank. But anyways, oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. So where was I? Some type of psychic interference.
The creator of the Matrix.
Well, the creator of the Matrix is human, or it could be whatever other ego consciousness being. But they created to keep us there, to enforce us and to be more manageable, to basically the ultimate tyranny, and to creating this whole matrix with us for us. Because in the divine realm, we get out of that. We travel. We're in a different dimension, in different reality, and we have a freedom of thought, freedom of emotions, freedom of consciousness. Right now, we don't have a freedom of consciousness. We're all kind of locked in a way, and our opinions, our emotions are subject to control. And they create an image or video or a presentation of some event happening, and then we all react to it. And it happens all the time. And then until we start to have these people who leak out the information and say, hey, this didn't really happen. This was created. This is a scenario. But we're in this crazy dream, and everybody's in that dream until you wake up. But it takes soul searching to get to that point. It takes you to unplug from the technology realm and plug into the divine realm. And then you start to see the truth about yourself and reality.
When Frank Drake wrote in the early 60s, wrote the Drake equation, which was, I'll just frame it like this. It was an equation to figure out or come up with or estimate the number of intelligent civilizations in the Milky Way, right? Okay. All right. So that's the Drake equation. And when that started, talk about a thought experiment. Everybody just started discussing the variables of this equation and how to get to a number. That's neither here nor there. But one of the discussions that came out of the Drake equation is exactly what we're talking about right now. How many civilizations? It's one of the symbols in the Drake equation. How many civilizations survive their own destruction? Right? Mm-hmm. Where they get to a point in technology, whatever it is, and they self-destruct. Nuclear war, entropy takes over, disease in the city, whatever it is, right? That they just end, that they don't survive long enough to contact us. And how long us as Earthlings can we expect to do the same thing? Right? And now in 1950, 1960, when these ideas were starting to go around in these intellectual circles, this discussion was there and it seemed like science fiction. But from where I sit today with where technology is, it's not as far-fetched as it seems. And that maybe ET out there would self-destruct. Unless they evolved into a higher spiritual being. That's the only way to survive and move past where we are today. And I don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, the planet is evolving and frequency is evolving. And when you're not in the same frequency, you either have to adjust or you have to leave, or you just, you can't exist in this planetary system. But right now, we're just getting to that point where we're rising in that frequency and consciousness. So the work is laid out for us to work on it. Light workers, light warriors, people like ourselves are working on it.
Yeah, I did this story today. We were just talking about artificial intelligence. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it was very interesting that this announcement happened because there has been a bunch of tests that were just done with Chat GPT, right? Open AI, and the press release came out today. So this isn't me making up some fictionalized thing, some theory. They got two language models to compete in a war game. Okay? Artificial intelligence. And watch the results and watched it go back and forth and put these hypotheticals in and so forth. Everyone ended with nuclear war. Right? Now let's stop it. If you think about that for a second, and now I'm not saying that the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick from 1983 is about to play out. But certainly we had the warning signs 40 years ago when that movie came out. We laughed about it, scared us, and all of that, but it was something that would never happen. Artificial intelligence is now part of our world. And if it ever goes to the next step, this is a consideration that we have to put into play. And the answer to that, for me, is that artificial intelligence, no matter what, was created by us. And in a lot of respects, it reflects who we are. Right? And isn't this a warning sign that we should actually just step back and go, okay, this may be something that we need to get out in front of and not let it run away on its own?
Yeah, it's a very dangerous thing. I mean, at some level, it's so convenient, it's so fun. There's a potential for like a beautiful paradise reality with it. However, you know how humans are. We have the destructive intentions and we want to control. So under the wrong person, the wrong controller, programmer, is very destructive. It'll lead to more tyranny, and I think that's what's happening. It's a program for tyrannical control.
Should we have some type of regulation here? I mean, definitely. whether it's spiritual advice from the Dalai Lama or some kind of legislation, but it seems like the way that AI is moving along, it's profit driven without any oversight.
That's right.
And I think that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I believe in that we need to have some kind of legislative, perspective on this thing. We need to have a team of people to kind of analyze it further. There's a potential for destruction. And I think it's to me, it's not the best thing to have around for a long time without regulation, without management. We need humans to somehow still oversee it to prevent it from getting worse. It's already heading the wrong direction, and people are enjoying it and having too much fun, and they don't realize they're getting more caught up in that matrix, becoming more of a prisoner. So I agree with you.
Yeah. I think that it is so embedded now in our daily lives that we don't. It was done so smooth that we don't even know it, and it's going to get to the point where we're not going to care, and that's the dangerous zone where it just becomes, well, whatever. There's nothing I can do about it, and it's like all invasion of our privacy or our private information or anything like that. We don't care anymore. Right? It's just, we don't, it's been made a non-issue, and that's crazy. And I think that we're almost there. Now, before I let you go, my house is haunted. Mm-hmm. Okay. I live in a haunted house, man. I do. The house is haunted. It's haunted. And, it's gotten to the point where, and I've talked about it a lot on the air. I need your advice. I am talking to ghosts, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just the weirdest thing. But Is there what's the advice that you can give me on this? Now, is it when you have a situation like this? No, it hasn't. I'm not getting hit in the head by books or pots and pans. Okay, it's not like that, not yet. But it's obvious that there's something going on here. I don't feel like it's good or if it's bad, but what's the advice? Do I just live with it?
Well, I mean, do you feel that it's threatening you?
No.
Do you feel that your emotions change because of it? Do you feel uncomfortable with it?
Would I say out loud? Okay, I'm going to use a bad word. Blake, can I use a bad word?
Of course, it's your show.
Okay. I don't give a shit. I'll say it out loud. It's okay. All right. I don't care. And that's kind of my attitude, but it hasn't slowed things down.
Well, the thing is, if it doesn't affect you mentally, emotionally, doesn't bother you, then why do you want to get rid of it? I mean, but if you want to get rid of it, there are things you can do. I mean, you can do a smudging, get sage and smudge your house. It kind of purifies the air. You can put like a black tourmaline around your bed. You can also, you pray. You can chant the Archangel Michael's prayer for protection. You call upon the angelic realms to help you. You can also assert your sovereignty. This is your house. You can tell it to leave. I had a client. She bought a house that was really old. I think it's 100-something years old. She had a ghost. And she knew it, it was coming all the time. And finally, she got tired of it. She told him, "This is my house. You have to respect my privacy, and I command you to leave." And she told the ghost, and the ghost left. So some are like that, but some are stubborn. Some are kind of doing bad things to people, and those are the ones that you really have to work hard to get rid of. Most of them they'll leave, but if you have some demonic beings, you'll probably need some professional help. But most of them. I had a client who had a haunted house too. They couldn't afford an exorcist. So I just told them the simple measures. They start saging, and the amount of paranormal activity subsided. I mean, they showed me pictures of cameras. They can actually see these orbs flying around. And I had a client, and she wasn't getting better. And I was wondering why. Her bed was right in front of a portal. And I had a camera capturing, first they capture all these insects flying out of the portal, followed by all these orbs above my client's bed. And then my client's son said he would see ghosts. And since they moved into the house, so I said, if you really want to do it right, because some of these are dark entities, you have to do other things. But just for the simple practices I recommend, you can get Palo Santos or sage and burn it. Go to each room. You can chant holy words, just different sacred mantras you can use too. You can play it on the video for getting rid of entities. Just visualizing the violet consuming flame through in and around your house. That usually clears dark energies. So you just kind of make an invocation and say, "I am the presence of the violet flame, clearing the house of all negative energies." That helps too. Visualizing white lights, and then live in happiness and joy, and light up candles, turn on the lights, and also just open up the windows to clear up all the energy. There might be stagnant energy too. So there's a lot of things that I put in my book, the whole chapter about how to deal with these kind of entities and dark energies, these dark beings. Most of the time, these minor ones, they'll just leave if you tell them to leave, and you do these minor things, and they'll go away. They get the hint. But when you have the demonic ones, sometimes a little trickier. But there are people who specialize in this for more difficult cases.
Somebody, not somebody, I've been told this more than once, to set up video cameras. And I have an issue with shoes that are falling down in my closet. And it's different shoes, different things. And it went away for about 6 months. It started up again last week. And I don't know if I could handle watching that happen. Right? I don't know. I don't think setting up a camera and seeing this happen for me is a healthy thing. I would rather just
It'll
have
make you more nervous. It make you more anxious.
I don't know.
They thrive on that because if you're nervous, fearful, that draws that energy. So sometimes it's not a good idea to do that.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Trust me, I have the technology to do that. I just don't want to see it. And so I want to leave well enough alone. And then somebody, a very prominent paranormal investigator, has been a guest on this show many times. He said, man, I think it's female. And you may catch it going from upstairs to downstairs. And you might want to set a camera up pointing at your stairs. I said, no, I don't. I do not want to see a ghost on my stairs.
Well, you already know it exists, but I have friends who specialize in that. That's what they do. They go in there, they clear the house, and people sometimes they try to sell a house, but they can't because it's got the negative entities there. So they hire these people to clear the house, and then the energy moves away, the entity moves away, and then people, when they come to the house, they feel the good vibes, then they're more likely to buy it. So I know a lot of people like that. If you need a referral, depending where you live.
I'm good for now. I burn a lot of sage and a lot of incense, but it's just really weird. It was 3 years ago. For about 3 months, it was out of control. I mean, like out of control. And then it just kind of chilled out to certain areas, and then just into one area of the house, and then it kind of stopped altogether. And I had a couple of friends come by and do a little, cleansing thing. But last week it just fired up again. I don't know. And here's the other part of this, and I do want to thank you in advance before we wrap here in about 2 minutes. Excellent conversation, and I look forward to the next time that you're on the show. Is it something that's just interdimensional and it's part of the universe, and we may call ghost and spirits, but it's just something that exists in another dimension anyway?
You can say that, but I think there's different levels of ghosts. There's some traumatic thing happened, so that person died, but then that energy was so strong and intense. It's kind of like a recording of that energy, just replays over and over. That's one level. And there are those ghosts, like my mother-in-law. She lived with us for a long time after she died, who don't even realize they died. So they're still reliving their life as if they're still alive. And so then those, you have to kind of move on to help them move on. And then you have people who cast spells on people, and then they have entities that way. Or you have burial grounds. So there's many different things. And so it can be parallel universe, but there are a lot of them, they haven't moved on, and they don't know they're dead. So they're still reliving their life, so then, so it's nothing to be afraid of. And if they bother you, then there are ways to get rid of them. So this all depends on what you want. But to me, when I hear it, I say, "Oh, you're here. Okay, say hi."
Yeah. See, that's my attitude right there. Well, I did go and kind of in a smooth way. You got to be smooth. You don't want to seem strange to your neighbors, but just kind of go and ask them questions. What was the previous family like?
Right, exactly. That's
because I love the house. What were they like? And I got nothing strange out of anybody. It wasn't like, dude, the Addams family used to live there. They had a hearse, right? It was, nothing like that. But so I can't find anything really in the history here either. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes you pick up these things from some place. Like if you visit a cemetery, there's negative entities. Sometimes they cling on you, and you bring them home. And sometimes you go, if you don't do cleansing yourself, you accumulate them, and then they hang around with you. They live on your body or in your home. So you can do a self cleansing or so forth. But there's a lot of rituals you can do to purify yourself, purify your home. But that one to me doesn't sound like a big deal. It sounds like something you can coexist with and have fun with it. Just change perspective. Say hi, hey, how's it going? How's the afterlife? Maybe after that they get tired of talking.
Pretty much that's what I do. I made a deal. I said, okay, whatever shoes fall, I'll wear that day.
Hey, there you go.
Okay.
I like that. That's a good attitude.
Yeah, except for last week, 4 pairs fell. So, yeah, exactly. Where can everybody go find your books?
Mostly on Amazon. Amazon, you can find all my books. I mean, if you live in Pleasanton, there's Valley Health Mill. There's a postal annex. And in San Francisco, there's an underground store. It's selling in Mount Shasta. But Amazon, you can find all 3 of my books.
Next time,
trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, next time you're on, I want to specifically talk about Shasta and Sedona. We'll spend 2 hours on those 2 places.
Oh, my God. Blake, Shasta is beautiful. Yes, we have to talk about that.
Perfect night, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace. Thank you so much.
Sir Blake Sinclair. That was a perfect show and a perfect way to start off the week here on Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a fun show tonight. I love, seriously, getting my learn on, and I did just that. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Thank you to Dennis. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jonathan. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Richard Dolan, go back, Lee Tappy.